Grab your name, sir.
Jake Baldwin.
Jake, and how old are you, Jake?
39.
39. Just a young fella, really, eh?
Don't feel it.
Can you remember your first surfboard?
Yep, it was a New Wave 5'6" quad.
Yep, New Wave. Yeah.
Yep.
Did you buy that second hand or new?
Yeah, I bought it second hand.
Second hand? Yeah.
In Warm Grey here.
Warm grey?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, neat.
Yep.
Why do you think you started surfing?
We moved. We were living in Australia.
Yep.
We're from New Zealand, but we're living in Australia. Moved back here. Got a farm out towards Pātau South there.
Yep.
And used to ride my motorbike down to Carry Mountain all the time. Occasionally see someone surfing there, and I was only 15, I suppose. So I shouldn't be riding a motorbike on the road. But it would ride down there all the time and see it, and just thought, man, that looks like me.
And it probably wouldn't have been many guys like we were surfing there in 64, 65. I tell you what, there was no one else surfing. So and even now it's pretty isolated. So
yeah, and back then there was one guy, I don't know who he was, but there was one guy, and I started and knew nothing about it, you know. Yeah. And there was one guy that occasionally used to turn up and would just say, oh, you know, lay here and do this and try that. Didn't know who he was, older guy. Yeah. And he just helped me out, and he was about the only person I ever used to see. Yeah. You know what I mean? Except for Zach. Yeah. we
used to call that Spot X, actually, our crew, because we didn't want to let anyone know that Carry Mountain was there, so we called it Spot X. So you actually started surfing at Carry Mountain?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
First car. What was your first car you took?
Mark 1 Escort.
Mark 1. Pretty smart, mate.
Yeah, had a 2-litre Cortina motor in it.
Oh, that would really honk a lot.
Oh, it was, man. It was amazing.
Yeah. And you didn't roll it or crash it or anything?
No, and that used to take us everywhere, man. Up Puri, and that was, the road was shocking. Then it was, you know, clay and slippery.
Corrugation and
and it was lowered, this Mark 1 Escort, and man, it took us some places. And no, ended up, you know, like everybody wanting a Japanese car, and the poor old girl ended up getting wrecked, I think. But
great first car, mate.
Yeah, it was cool.
Best surfboard. What's your best? You ever had one you sold, or is the current one you've got? What's your best surfboard that you really fell in love with?
Here, there was one I took to France when I was 18. I sold it. It was a Burning Spears. I bought it brand new from Northland Surfboards, was it? Up in Carmo?
Carmo, yeah, Northland Surf and Sail.
That's it. And I sold it about 7 years ago, but it might not be my best surfboard, but it was this first surfboard I went to Europe with. And man, I wish I had it still. But my favourite board is probably a quad Morris out there. You know, modern take on a sort of quad.
Older style.
Still, you know, it's got mature man volume, I like to call it, 3 inches thick. And
catch anything.
Catch anything. Still handles the bigger stuff. Beautiful.
Now tell us, you said you surfed in France. Whereabouts or through Europe? Where'd you have some good surf over there?
Amazing surf. When I was 18, first went to Hospital. Stayed in a place called Senyos. Got amazing surf there. Been back there a lot since. But all through Europe, France, Spain, Portugal. Had some amazing reef breaks in England as well. And like everybody, been to Bali and some of the islands in Australia, but yeah, probably France is my highlight. I'd say spending the summer there.
They get some big mean surf, don't they?
Look incredible. Sarah and I stayed there when I suppose I was about 29. Capriton, I think it was called, near Hospital there, and for 2 months, pretty much 2 months flat straight. There was no flat swells. You know, and some huge surf. Scary too. Scary shore break.
Did you like the French lifestyle of going out and having wine and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, totally. Just loved everything about France.
Surf clubs, you belong to any surf clubs or board clubs?
Look, no, I don't. You know, I know everybody. You know, sort of Ocean Beach, I suppose, became my local when I, you know, after I moved on from Carry Mountain and wanted to be around other surfers and learn more. Ocean Beach sort of became the stomping ground, and then we went away overseas for near on 7 years. And when we came back, you know, I sort of settled back in there. And look, I know all the guys, just haven't really.
It's something about going out to a break and you know most of the guys. That's special, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, like, totally. And look, I didn't surf for 2 years. I had a really bad knee operation, and I used to be quite competitive. You know, felt like not as in competing, but as in always wanted to be the best, do the biggest air. And I had 2 years out with a bad knee operation, and when I came back into it, I got into the twin fins, and my whole attitude on surfing changed. To me, just being out in the water now is special magic, and you know, I might only get, you know, 5 to 10 waves, but I had that 2 years where I couldn't surf, so now, you know, my whole attitude in surfing is has completely changed.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. Biggest wave? What's about the biggest wave you've, roughly how high we're looking?
Surfer talk's so hard, isn't it? Because
yeah.
some guys measure from all sorts of different places, and someone will say it's 6 foot, and someone will say it's 3 foot. It would be probably in either France or Spain and Mundaka.
Yeah.
Probably France. Man, I don't know. Triple overhead, I suppose.
Yeah. What are we probably looking to get close to 20 foot or something like that?
Oh, yeah, maybe not that
15,
big. I don't know, 12, 15 foot.
Yeah.
But too big for me.
Good solid wave.
Yeah, and scary, but I was young.
Scariest moment surfing? Had a few frights out there?
Yeah, besides sharks, I had a massive white pointer come at me, straight towards me, oceans one day by myself.
Yeah.
And
so what'd you do?
I mean, I was by myself out the back.
You eyed up
and this thing came out of the water. And most fins you see are this big, let's be realistic. Yeah. This thing was ginormous. Yeah. And I can remember it was fat and it was jagged and it had a big white tip. And it was so big it was pushing the water in front of it. Yeah. I just turned and paddled like a madman. But it was a big day, typical no wave came. White as a ghost when I got in. But that was pretty scary.
Yeah. When growing up, surf heroes, who were your heroes, or was it more the local guys, or who were you looking up to?
Oh man, when I was young, I suppose, I never really got hard out into buying magazines or anything like that.
Yeah.
I suppose I looked up at the local guys, didn't really know their name, but just, I'd see some guy do a re-entry and just think, man, that is the be-all and end-all.
So you'd have a go and try and copy that sort of thing.
Yeah, totally. But like everybody, I suppose Kelly Slater, to want for better words, but was coming up through the ranks. Yeah. And then when we were in Europe, Sarah and I, he was surfing, having a free surf, and we were in our camper van, and he came out of the water, and he was getting changed, you know what I mean, and there was all these people just mobbing him.
Yeah.
I said to Sarah, poor guy, look at that, we're in our camper van. I said, he can't even get changed.
Yeah.
And I said to Sarah, you should go offer him a coffee, and she was like, okay. And she wandered over. I was like, oh man, how embarrassing, he's just going to go away.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'll have a coffee.
Yeah.
And he came over, and it was really nice because he sat with us for a couple of hours, but we didn't talk about surfing at all.
Yeah.
Talked about diving. He knew about 4 nights.
Yeah.
Just talked about. And I think that's perhaps why someone like him stayed,
Yeah.
It wasn't surf based.
Yeah, it was just other interests, and he's wanting to learn and share.
Yeah, and he knew a lot. He's right into diving, knew the 4 nights. So it was nice to meet a hero and see that they just they're like everybody else.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling. What music will you sort of listen to in that Cortina when you go and surfing?
The escort.
What'd you have cranked up, really cranking on that thing?
Rage Against the Machine.
That was the one, wasn't it? That was your surf. So when you got to the beach, you were right into it after listening to something like that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Good on you. Surf accidents. Any bad accidents, or you've been one of the lucky ones that come through pretty good?
Broken nose at Partow one time.
Yeah.
Board came out of the water sideways and got the nose.
A lot of blood, I'd take it from something like that.
Yeah, couldn't see, a lot of blood, just try to make it to the shore. Didn't go to the doctor because, young and just had a clicky nose for a while.
Bulletproof.
Yeah, one of those boards out there, one of the old girls out there gave me a concussion at the race course.
Yeah.
Axed me on the head and had
so you didn't knock you right out, you're still conscious, or
I was still conscious. Yeah, I was still conscious, but I'd had 3 concussions earlier in my life from motorbikes and skateboards.
Yeah.
And so that one, although it didn't knock me out, that affected me, quite bad. And a bad knee.
Yeah.
Like everybody, every surfer.
Nothing wrong with you, mate. You're in good condition. Favourite surf trip, New Zealand or overseas? Have you been on a trip and man, it was probably France, really, I suppose, but.
I guess I've been lucky enough to go to Europe quite a lot, and I suppose the adventure of those, particularly when I was young, probably the 18 years old, and even when I was 18, there wasn't this word OE, and as common, and I just said to a mate one day, I want to go up to France and surf, and he's like, oh, I'll come, and we went up there and we're 18 years old, and it was just
having a ball, weren't you?
Yeah, we got malnutrition from not eating enough, and lived in a tent in the woods, and hitchhiked everywhere, and Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah,
Good stuff though, eh? And you'll find a lot of Kiwis do that. What do you reckon it's about Kiwis that do stuff like that? I had a mate I worked with, and he went through Europe with a pair of jandals, I think 2 pairs of undies and a pair of jeans, and that was it. But he had an absolute ball. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, I don't know. It's just a sense of adventure, I suppose, and sort of that Kiwi can do. It doesn't matter if you're living in the bush and sleeping underneath the tarpaulin, and it just didn't matter. It doesn't affect us like other people, you know. Didn't need a toilet or a shower, or just needed some surf. And
happy. Favourite break? You know, you talked about Ocean Beach, but if you want to go for a surf, where do you go to?
Look, I guess everybody calls it now, and a mate and I, we started, you know, a lot of people have always surfed at the spot between Oceans and Proctor's there. And a long time ago, we started calling it the Myth, because we're like you with Spot X. And we weren't, you know, I didn't want people to know that that's where we're hitting, even though they could probably see you. So we just, if someone asked us where we surf, we said, oh, the Myth. And I still love the Myth, you know, that break where it breaks in that little...
Does that go right in by the rocks there, and you look at it? Well, there's a couple of spots there where it goes
right
there
are.
The rocks.
And we've tried to name a few of them. We've got the Myth and Boiling Points stolen from Noosa. Castles further down, what we call castles, it's further down Proctor's. But I got a lot of time for Proctor's. Just some special little breaks there. I like getting
there. It's a big beach to play with there, and you're right down the coast.
You're right.
Carry Mountain anyway.
Yeah, totally.
What's the funniest thing or stupidest thing when you're going surfing or you've been out surfing? You must have come across something weirdo or something strange. Anything stand out in your mind, or probably putting you on the spot, you can't think of anything. But
when we were younger, one of my mates had a bit of a taste for a certain sort of mushroom, and he used to just sit in the back of the car and talk to himself the whole way out there and the whole way back, and the whole time in the surf. And everybody else would just be in the front, just go, good Lord. I won't say his name, but you know who he is. But there's some funny times.
What do you think you get out of surfing? I know it's hard for a non-surfer to understand, and us surfers will know. You go, I have a surf, and you come back and you just feel refreshed and on top of the world, but you might be able to explain it a bit better. What do you think we get out of it?
I don't know, but whatever it is, like you say, whatever it is, like if I'm injured and I can't surf, I become a whole different person. You know, as you say, you get grumpy, you get that tight feeling. I still, you know, nowadays we're lucky we've got the internet. You check the internet like today, and you go, man, there's waves out there, and I'm beginning. But I think it's just that the ability to go out there and your mind just shuts off. It's very hard, particularly in this world with busy lives, just to turn your mind off.
To chill out,
just to stare out at sea, and you know, it's also that feeling of you can talk to someone. I think you and I already said this, but you can talk to someone for 5 years in the surf, but you don't even know their name.
No, that's right.
And you don't talk about your families or your life or your work or your stresses. You just talk about surfing.
You're there for the moment. And enjoying heaps of it.
Totally, and that feeling of someone that you don't even know. Particularly now that I'm not competitive like I used to be, and I just surf with enjoyment of you know, you've got the right of way and you go, no, you have this wave, man. You know, and it's not mine to give, but somebody else is like, oh man, that was amazing.
Good one. You know you're going to get a good one back at some stage.
Totally, it's that, I guess it's that karma thing with surfing and the feeling of just being in the environment. That's amazing.
I see you've got a lovely daughter running around here, and I think you've got another one on your way. Do you think they'll be into surfing?
I certainly hope so. Blaze has got a twin fin out there with Snoopy on it, an old girl. Just happens to have Snoopy on it.
What's the name of it? It's a lovely looking board.
I think it's is it a New Wave as well? Same as my first board. So
nice, cool board.
Look, I hope she does. But you know, if she doesn't, that's okay.
If you're like me, there's always grandchildren one day to surf with, and that's just a thrill again with young children. But it's something special to go surfing with young kids.
Totally. And we're planning another trip back to Europe. Where when the new babies are 1 year old, we're planning on going back up there for another year. So.
Okay, we're nearly there, but do you know any of the old Northland surfers, any of the old fellas that started out? Do you know much about the pioneers up here? A lot of people don't, but it's just a question that I've got down here.
Probably the person that I'm closest to that I would say somebody like that is Doug Ferguson. I knew his son, or still know his son.
Part our man.
Part our man. And so when one of my mates, when we were sort of young guys, his parents brought a batch out there, and we already knew Andrew, his son. And Dougie just became that guy that would say, you know, drop your shoulder.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
throw your arm, turn your head. Don't rush in front of the wave too much. You know, you're going too far out on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Try to stick by the white water, and you know, say little things like you need to drop out. You know, drop out towards the beach, then
Yeah.
come in and bring it in. And so he was just, you know, sort of that guy that was just like, you know, and he still surfs amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
But he was just one of those guys that was just like, he was sort of calm and patient, and
He's been a judge in all sorts. I've been on judging competitions with him, so he's a very talented guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, I guess, you know, there's plenty of guys out of Oceans do that. But as far as local, I would say for me, he would be the person that's someone that's always been around and can tell you about the old stories. You know.
Yeah. How long do you think you'll keep surfing? As long as you can, or?
Oh, look, most definitely. You know, as I mentioned before, you know, the knee's not so good, but I work out.
Yeah.
And I don't like working out as far as exercise goes, but I do it so I can surf.
Go surfing.
You know, like, I don't like doing pull-ups or push-ups or anything like that, but I do it to try to. So, oh man, look, you know, as long as I possibly could, if they can keep me in the water somehow.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. There's no reason why you can't go to 70 odds. So, yeah.
Oh, totally. And then, you know, even after that, if you can be in the water in some way, even if you could have a little body surf, or you know, even if you can be in the ocean after that.
Special thing.
Totally. Totally.
Look, I really appreciate your time, and thanks very, very much for your review. Fantastic.
Thank
you very
you.
much.
It's been a pleasure.